Hello everyone and welcome to another of our NQL season previews. Today we will be looking at the North Sydney Nightmares with Nightmares player Tom Russell. Just before we jump into that interview, a couple of quick things. Please remember to like, share and subscribe all our content here on YouTube and throughout all our social media channels, throughout your social media channels, just because what we want to do is we want to help grow the sport of Quidditch, not only domestically and internationally, but outside of the Quidditch community as well. This was one of the reasons I started down under Quidditch Media, so that we can help grow the sport of Quidditch to become bigger and better than it already is. Because being within the community, I see all the benefits of Quidditch, but the people outside of the community don't necessarily see those benefits, and the only way we can help more people to see the benefits of Quidditch is if we help grow the community in every single way we can. So now that the boring stuff's out of the way, we'll jump straight into our interview with Tom Russell. And joining us now to preview the North Sydney Nightmares 2021 NQL season is Tom Russell. Tom, thanks for joining us today.
Very pleased to be here, Steven. I haven't watched the other previews, so I have no idea what I'm in for. But I'm excited to see how it gets.
So, how has pre-season been going for you guys? Have you been finding it easy to get back into the rhythm of things?
Yeah, for the most part, we got lucky enough we were able to largely keep training together over much of the virus period. And a bunch of the people we added were people who came to our trainings anyway. So there hasn't been like too much of an kind of integration issue. But it's still, obviously, it's a bit tough, especially because we have like 5 players who live in other cities, so that's always a little bit of a challenge. But you roll with it as you have to do.
Yeah. So what sort of new players have come in?
Many new players. At the end of our 2019 season, I think our biggest weakness was depth. And then for the 2020 season, we added 4 people. And then for the 21 season, we've added another 6, and we've only lost like 1 or 2. So our squad's gotten quite large now. I think we're up to about 25 people.
Well, that's good. That should mean no problems on game day trying to fill out the 21 player roster. I wish my team didn't have those problems. But
yeah, we had some issues late at Nationals 2019 where I think we came into the tournament with like 4 male quaffle players total, and by the 3-4 matchup, we had 2 left.
Yikes.
So obviously we needed to fix that issue a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's definitely less than ideal. I mean, just in position in general, but when you're looking at quaffle players, and that's already, a good, do the math, 60% of the lineup on pitch at any one time,
yeah,
would be less
and they're
than
the
ideal.
position that's most likely to get hurt. Like I at least in my opinion, like quaffle players get hurt way more often than beaters, just because they're involved in tackling more often.
Yeah. What are the goals for the Nightmares for the upcoming season?
We want to win every game that we play. I don't think any of us thinks we will actually win every game that we play. That's a bit like ridiculous, but I think with the talent level of our team and the way that we play, I think we give ourselves a shot at the very least of winning every game that we play. Obviously, it almost definitely won't happen, but that's like what we want to do.
So we should be expecting a deep run at Quaffle that goes ahead for the Nightmares. We should be expecting, say, a semi-finals or a final appearance in the NQL.
We would hope so. Obviously, I'd be pretty happy with that. When you get to bracket playing and like single elimination stuff, obviously, like so much craziness can happen that I wouldn't. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, we're definitely going to be in like the Waffle semi-final. Like that's a bit crazy, but certainly like. I think we back ourselves to at least keep it close against every team in the country.
That's fair enough. That's definitely a good approach to have, and based on everything I've seen over the 2020 period of you guys, with some of the matches that have been going up on Down Under Quidditch Media, cheap plug right there, that you guys have definitely started to gel a lot more as a team together, and it's a lot more what's the right word to use? It's a lot more of a chill environment, but competitive at the same time. And I think that's a nice thing to have as a team.
We still have it in us to like That Valkyries game we played in December, I think we probably in some ways deserved to lose that game. In that we kind of threw it away. We still have that in us, but at the very least, as much as we I think played quite poorly that game, we were still in range. In fact, I think we were up. I guess the depth we have on our team allows us to weather kind of bad performances. Because one example we use is at the start of 2020, we put out a lineup that was supposed to be really, really good against Wollongong. I had 2 drop bears and 2 state players or whatever it was on it. And they couldn't score for 5 or 6 minutes on Wollongong. And then we said, screw it. And then we just took them all off. We were we'll try something else.
Oh, that's never good. And that's not a shade of disrespect at Wollongong. It's just with the talent discrepancy, that would definitely be concerning from a lineup perspective.
Yeah, I mean, really, the lineup we put on, I think it was Gunny, Sam, Brandon, Trish in the qualifier line or something like that. They should be able to score on anyone, really. They should be able to score a goal in 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's so that would definitely be concerning.
We were lucky enough that even though that group had a bad game, we were able to put on. I think the next lineup we put on was literally Ava, Hoss, me, Jackson, qualifier line or something. So it's good to have different options and different theories of lineups you can play. Obviously, that second lineup plays a lot differently than the first lineup, and that's always nice to have that ability to shift tempos.
Yeah, and it would also be nice to have that, as you mentioned, that level of depth where you can kind of, I guess, mix the lines up if you absolutely have to, based on, say, 3 players on the first line are playing incredibly good, but one isn't. It might be, okay, you're going to drop down a little bit, this person's going to come up, and just kind of mix it up that way. Yeah,
there's some desire in our team this year I suppose 2019, last season, we'll say. We didn't have, we had such a small team, really. I think the most we had at tournament was 16. That we just kind of had to weather, if some, I played hurt all the time. We just had to kind of weather bad games, I guess. Whereas now, especially because our squad is more than 21, we have much more of a desire to chop and change stuff. Which will probably, for a lot of the season, will probably make us play worse for a little bit, but in the long term, we'll get better. I shouldn't be playing with Jackson every game anymore because it's not like I haven't played with him for 5 years previously or whatever it is. Just get the chemistry working with all sorts of different lineups.
Yeah, and that will definitely come in handy towards the back end of the season when you don't have that time to work on anything, especially if it's at a finals or it's at a quaffle where it's okay, we need to go with what works. This isn't working. Okay, you don't have time to build that chemistry up. It's right, you go with you. You need to work together right now to try and get us this W.
Yeah. It's nice as well because we've added, we used to run basically chasers as our keepers for the most part. Jackson would keep, I would keep, Sam would keep, Brandon would occasionally, in the small amount of games he's actually played on the Nomads so far. But at least now we've added Max, and we have Hoss, and we have Gunny. So we basically have real keepers now, which is nice.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to have proper people in their positioning that, rather than, as you said, interchanging, a little bit of cross-positional play. Even though quaffle play is essentially all the same, there are those small nuances to the keeper position that you just don't know as a chaser until you actually do it for a while. How have the Nightmares adapted to the rulebook changes?
Very little. I know personally, I'm still trying to get my head around how it works. Every time I see everyone lining up for the new starting procedure, I'm shook. I have no idea what's going on. But we've tried it out a little bit. I've got some ideas, but we'll see how we go. I can't even remember most of the other changes. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I haven't looked at it that in depth. But I'm not a captain or a coach anymore, so I don't have to.
No, I think the big one that everyone's concerned with is that starting lineup change. Personally, I like it because I think it's going to create more chaos, and I love chaos. As long as I'm not the one on the receiving end of said chaos, I absolutely love it.
I forgot the snitch change. Yeah, the snitch change has been a big one. Like I spent, what was it, like 8 years internalizing the maths and the I suppose the theory of like what you do at each, like when you're down 20, up 20, down 10, up 10, etc. And now that entire, I suppose, methodology has changed, like it's taking me a lot of time to figure out, because like your strategy in certain positions is just completely different now.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of teams are going to have to take getting used to. I know a lot of teams are still practicing defensive seeking, even though, at least from my perspective, it's no longer a thing that should be employed. Like, the way I look at it is that if you're down 70, you may as well take the catch, get to 40, and then try from there to score 70 points. But like, if say the score is 100 to 30, and you've struggled to put those 3 goals on the board, like, you may as well just try and end the match, not even risk overtime, because it's just you're looking down the barrel of a loss. Like, unless it's been you've conceded 10 straight and you've very quickly put those 3 goals on to get back into something resembling a range, but it's just, it doesn't sit right with me, defensive seeking, anymore.
I used to be a really big fan of defensive seeking. Like I used to be pro in some circumstances, like not even putting a beater on the snitch, like having a beater just play quaffle game. Like if you're up 30, say, right, and you can't lose from a snitch catch, but you desperately need another goal to like seal the game.
Yeah,
I just think your beater should never play snitch. You should just defensive seek to stop them catching, and then just put everything into scoring a goal.
Yeah.
But now that obviously that's completely changed now. Like that's you'd probably just rather the points. But I think beaters on the snitch is just like I just feel like there's almost no point anymore, unless it's like really close. Like if it's tie game, I guess you can see it, because obviously 30 points is worth more than 10. But especially if it's a good snitch, like don't even worry about it, just score more goals.
Yeah, no, and that's something that I believe the Nightmares would be able to do with their, as you've mentioned, the newfound depth at the chaser and keeper positions.
It's a pace thing as well. I think, like, if you think the snitch is going to take 3 minutes to get caught, I feel like you can be reasonably confident you can score 3 goals in that amount of time, especially if you're playing quick. Especially if the other team isn't beating the quaffle, like, you should just dominate that.
Yeah, no, that definitely seems like a good strategy to take into it. How long do you think it's going to take for the Nightmares to get back into the swing of things in a competitive game environment? We know that some members of the Nightmares were at the UCIT Fantasy that took place last month. Given that we are just a couple of weeks out from the first games of the season, do you think it'll take long for the Nightmares to build that game fitness back up and kind of like gel together? There's a difference between training and actually doing it on field.
Yeah. We've had pretty good training attendance, which is nice. Most of the time we're able to get some games in, or have 12, 13 people, kind of a minimum mark. But we've certainly been trying to ramp up. Like, we've added an extra weekday training, which we haven't done before. We're trying to get everyone, like, we have like a Monday basketball league that I think 8 of us playing. We're all Nightmares now, which wasn't the case at the start. And now we're trying to add in like the Thursday like American football thing. Like, I don't know, we're just trying to get as active as possible, to the point where like you can just slot into game shape. Like, I know I'm not even close to game shape, and I could certainly feel it even in December. I would do like 4 runs at 90%, and I'd be like, whew, I'm a bit tired now. Let's who's my next sub? Whereas before, especially in 2019, like, because I didn't have a sub, I just went. You just deal with it.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Is there anything that you want to say either on behalf of yourself or the Nightmares towards the rest of the competition?
Oh, I think you're really baiting me with this one. I don't think we have anything to say. I don't think we have anything to say. I think we're just looking forward to playing some games. Finally. But I'm just looking forward to have fun. Really, it's been we played 3 games in 12 months basically.
More or
So
less, yeah.
I'm just happy to actually play the game.
Fair enough, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much to Thomas Russell of the North Sydney Nightmares for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Have a good one.
Alright, same to you.